in a frying pan. Today I'm doing eggplant lasagna, and I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, which will be flour, egg, and then breadcrumbs. The flour will be seasoned, and I'll be frying it in olive oil. And once that's done, I'll start layering the eggplant in my old man and a frying pan tomato sauce and cheese, and putting in the oven, baking it for half an hour at 375 degrees, and it will come out on top nice golden brown on the cheese, and the eggplant will still be a little tiny bit al dente, so it's got structure still, but so it's not watery, and it should be very tasty. So stay tuned and let's get this done. Hey, Sparky's my assistant chef, the new member of the assistant chef family here. Sparky's about 1 year and 3 months old. Plant. So I'm just cutting the ends off. And then I'm gonna actually peel, not all of it, but peel bits of it, like in strips like this. So you get some of the skin, but not all of it. Just like so. So that's ready to start cutting. So what I'd like to do is I just cut a little piece off like that. And why I do that is I want to try and get it set up so it's easier to cut. So that's too thin. I want about 1/4 inch. That's a good size. That's perfect. So you can see I'm doing good sized thick pieces. And this one's just a little too big, so I'm going to cut that as well. That's better. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good sized pieces. Now, what I do with these is I put them in a colander like so, and this would be enough for one person without a problem. So if you cut it like that, you do it like that, and then what I do is I put salt it. So I'm going to put a fair amount of salt on this. And the reason why I'm doing this is what happens to it is it draws out some of the moisture out of the eggplant. And what will happen is you'll see little black beads of coming out of it. And those black beads are they're not good tasting. So by getting rid of it, it makes the eggplant better tasting. Now, this takes about a good half an hour, so we're gonna let it set for half an hour, and then we'll come back and start on the rest of the recipe. The ingredients ready to do the breading. So I have some flour ready here, and I just want to put the spicing in. So I'm gonna put in a teaspoon of salt, and I'm actually gonna put a little bit extra in because about another half, because of the amount of flour I have there. I have about 5 heaping tablespoons of flour. I've got pepper. That's lots. That's a teaspoon of pepper, and a big one. So I started heaping. And this is the garlic powder. So this is going to be a half teaspoon plus another half. So 1 full teaspoon. And this is the onion powder. So I'm going to put 2 of those in. 1/2 to make 1 teaspoon. And then I have oregano, which I like. So I can put that in plus a heaping one. So that's 1 teaspoon of oregano. And then I'm going to put some paprika in. So why I'm doing it in the flour is eggplant doesn't, it's kind of a plain tasting vegetable, so it takes on the flavor of whatever you put it with. So I like to flavor the flour, which is next to the eggplant, which helps to flavor the eggplant. So we'll see how that works. So I'll mix all this up. And it smells good. You can smell it. So that's going to be a nice little flour. There's a flavoring there. And so the next thing to do will be to set up the egg. Eggs in here, added a bit of milk to it, and just mixed it up to get ready for the breading. This is the homemade breadcrumbs. They're I had some both 3 or 4 day old bread hanging around, so I just put it in my little mini food processor and ground it up. Eggplant dried off, and this is obviously more than I'm going to use for this one particular dish, but I'm going to actually make about 3 of these. I'm only going to do 1 for you guys though. So here we go. I'm just going to start breading the eggplant like so. You can see it's nice and covered. And then into here I go, and then over. Now I've got my hands wet, which is not very good. So onto the breading, like so, and I'm going to pat it down to make sure it's covered properly. So there's 1. There's number 2. Making sure it's nice and covered. And into the breading. So I'm gonna pat this down. Like so. And I got 1 more to do. And I think I'm gonna use a little bit of a thinner one here. So here we go. Get it nice and covered in the flour and the spices. And then off we go into here, and then into here. So it's starting to get rather thinned out already on the breadcrumbs. So I have some here extra, but it's not homemade. So you can see the difference in the texture right away. But off we go, finish it off. So I'm just gonna put some of this breadcrumb on it because it's a bit different textured. I want to make sure it's good, and it is. It's very good. Okay, so there's the 3 pieces I'm going to use for my dish that I want to make, and so I'm going to continue on here and make some extra here. Meanwhile, anything that goes over the edge here is cleaned up by my assistant chef, Sparky here, and he may be wondering what the heck this is. So off we go. There's 1. That's 2. Let's get another one going. 3. Into the egg. And into the breadcrumbs. That's 3. And then I'm going to try and do 3 more if I can. I'm pretty sure I'm okay flour-wise. What'd you do? Uh-oh. What'd you do? Oh, you got something in your throat there. Yes. So here I go, I'm doing it again, just getting it all nice and covered. I'm running out of breadcrumbs here. I'm just about done. So I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. So we're ready to go here. So the next step will be frying all this. So I've got a couple extra pieces there, which I'll leave. Washing my hands off. Got some olive oil in here, it's getting hot, so off we go. You can see it's, the trick here is to try and get it to do exactly what happened there is it literally starts to fry right away, because if you don't, it starts absorbing the oil. So you want the oil hot enough to prevent it from absorbing the oil. So off we go. I'm going to let it cook until it's brown, and then flip it, and I'm going to put it on the paper towel to drain and just build it up. Now this oil is, I say olive oil, it's hot, and we'll see how it looks when it's going to be nice and crispy. So I'll show you what this looks like from the one side, and then I'll finish them off. Now you want these to go for at least about 2 minutes aside. Yep, no, it's not quite. All right, let's take a look and we'll flip them. Oh yeah, I got a nice brown color there, so it's time to flip them. And you can see it got a nice brown color. Nice and crispy. There we go. And you might see my assistant chef there making sure everything's nice and clean. Spice is cooking on the breading. It smells really good. Okay, we're nice and crispy on the bottom as well. So off they go into the onto the paper towel, and then we'll start a new batch. And this will allow me to make 3 individual servings of eggplant lasagna. So just brown this up and we'll be done here. I'm going to start assembling here, and I've got about a half jar of my homemade Old Man and spaghetti sauce, and I'm going to start spreading that onto the bottom here. Obviously this isn't enough, but it's I'm using it up because it's from another thing I was doing. So we got that on there, so I'm going to start layering my eggplant. So I'm going to put a layer of eggplant down. I want to put some sauce on it, and like so. Not a lot, just enough to cover it. Then I've got some homemade or some grated Parmesan cheese on here. Not a lot. Some regular cheese, which I like the free mixture Italian cheese on here, just like so. And then another piece on top, like that. A little more sauce to cover it. A little bit more Parmesan, grated Parmesan on there. A little bit more cheese. And then one last piece on top of there. A little more sauce. And this one just a little more than the others because it's the top piece. And a little more Parmesan. And then I'm gonna put in the cheese on top, like so, to let that melt. And then the little bit of extra sauce that's here is going in around this. And I'm going to add a little bit of water to rinse this off. And I'm going to put this around as well, just to create a bit of steam. There we go. I think that's perfect. I have another jar open of sauce, so I'm just going to put a bit extra sauce around, like so. And that one's ready to go. That one's ready to slip into the oven, and away we go. So this one's going over to the oven, which is preheated for 375. So I'm going to set that one aside, and I'll be right back with another dish. There are two more exactly the same way as I did the other one. They're all three of them are ready to go into the oven. So I'm going to have 3 separate dishes of eggplant lasagna, and it's good for 1 serving, or if you're not a big eater, for 2, obviously. It takes 375 for half an hour, and you see my oven is yelling at me that it's ready now for this to go in, so off it goes in. Man in a frying pan and my assistant Sparky, that's another wrap. So it's enjoy it. It should taste very good when you do it. You can make the flavoring a bit on the spicing to your own liking. I really like what I did with the spicing. It tastes good, and I'll show you a picture of it when it comes out of the oven. So enjoy.